You sense it in ways you cannot fully explain. The atmosphere around your life feels suspended, like everything has slowed just enough for you to notice it. This is not confusion. This is not stagnation, and it is not failure. This is a deliberate pause, a controlled silence before a larger sound. Heaven has placed your life in a holding pattern not to deny you, but to synchronize you. Right now, it may feel uncomfortable because you are used to movement. You are used to pushing, solving, fixing, making things happen. But this season has not responded to effort the way others did. You try harder, yet progress feels minimal. You pray, yet answers seem delayed. And the question quietly forms in your mind. Why now? Why this pause? Because what is coming cannot collide with chaos until it requires order, alignment, timing. Look at your career. Maybe you are competent, even gifted, yet nothing seems to break open. You show up on time. You do more than asked. Still, the recognition you expected hasn't arrived. Others seem to advance while you remain in place, and you wonder if you are invisible. But what if this delay is not denial, but insulation? What if you are being protected from stepping into something too early before the authority, maturity, or discernment has fully settled in you? Consider your finances. You budget, you plan, you restrain yourself, and yet unexpected costs keep appearing. Repairs, bills, obligations you didn't foresee. And you ask yourself, why does it feel like I'm always stabilizing instead of building? But sometimes God steadies you before He multiplies you, because expansion without foundation collapses under its own weight. In your personal relationships, especially family, there may be distance, conversations that don't quite land, emotional gaps that feel wider than they should. You try to explain your heart, but it seems misunderstood. Silence stretches longer than comfort, and you ask quietly, will this ever resolve? Yes, but not through pressure. Through timing. Some hearts soften only when God touches them directly. This pause you're in is not empty. It's active, even if it feels quiet. Things are being removed that cannot go forward with you. Old expectations on old identities, an old coping mechanism. You may feel stripped in small ways, less noise, fewer distractions. Reduced support, but stripping always precedes strengthening. And here is where many people make a mistake. They assume that silence means absence. But silence often means attention. God grows quiet when He is working closely. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it delays, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Notice the contradiction that reveals truth. It feels delayed, yet it is not late. It appears slow, yet it will arrive right on time. This is not random waiting. This is appointed waiting. Let me ask you something directly. What if this pause is not slowing you down, but aiming you correctly? Think about Sunday, not as a dramatic event, but as a threshold. A moment where internal clarity begins to replace confusion, where emotional weight starts to lift, where a decision you've been avoiding suddenly becomes obvious. These shifts rarely announce themselves loudly. They arrive as peace, as certainty, as quiet resolve. You might notice it in small ways. You sleep better. You stop replaying a conversation. You feel less anxious about a future you cannot yet see. Or you receive a simple message, a subtle opportunity, a timely insight that reorients your direction. That is how real change often begins softly, but decisively. Here is the danger, though. Many people abandon hope right before alignment. They rush into substitutes because waiting feels uncomfortable. They settle for less because uncertainty feels heavy. They fill silence with noise. Don't do that here. Not now. not at this moment. This pause has an expiration date. Sunday is not about pressure, it's about release. Something internal is about to loosen. A burden you've been carrying mentally will ease. A question that's been circling your thoughts will settle. And when that happens, movement follows naturally, without strain. So let me ask you plainly, can you trust what is forming even if you can't see it yet? If this message speaks to you, like this video, share it with someone who feels stuck in waiting, and subscribe to stay connected, because what comes next builds directly from this moment. And as a personal marker at the end of this section, type 8 in the comments. Not as superstition, but as a declaration that you are willing to wait for what is appointed, not grab what is premature. The pause is purposeful. The timing is intentional. And what unfolds next will make this waiting make sense. The isolation you've been experiencing was not accidental, and it was not cruel. It was surgical, carefully measured, precisely timed. You didn't drift into this season, you were led into it. And even though it felt like loss, what was really happening was refinement. There was a time when your life was crowded. Messages, expectations, demands, voices pulling at you from every direction. People needed your energy, your advice, your presence, and you gave it freely. But somewhere along the way, the noise became too loud for clarity to survive. So it began to thin out. Slowly at first, then noticeably. Conversations faded, invitations stopped, circles shrank. And you wondered if you had done something wrong. You didn't. Isolation is not rejection when it's assigned by God. It is separation with purpose. Look at your daily routine now. You notice how much more time you spend alone with your thoughts, how distractions don't satisfy the way they used to, how superficial conversations exhaust you. This is not loneliness, it's sensitivity. Your spirit has become more discerning, less tolerant of noise that doesn't lead anywhere. Think about your work environment. Maybe you no longer fit the culture the way you once did. The jokes feel empty. The ambition feels hollow. You do your job well, but something inside you resists blending in. You feel like you're standing slightly apart, watching instead of participating. That distance is training. Leadership is formed on the outside before it's expressed on the inside. In finances, isolation often shows up as restraint. You no longer spend impulsively. You hesitate before committing. You ask deeper questions about value and longevity, while others chase quick gains. You feel pulled toward stability, stewardship, and long-term impact. This is not fear. It's wisdom forming. In family and relationships, the isolation can hurt the most. You may feel misunderstood, like your growth created distance, like your silence was misinterpreted. You wanted to explain, but words failed. And instead of fighting to be understood, you withdrew, not out of bitterness, but out of exhaustion. God often removes you from constant explaining so he can redefine you without interruption. Here's the truth: many people never hear God isolates before he elevates. Because elevation without inner stability destroys people. Isolation teaches you how to stand without applause, how to obey without affirmation, how to trust without reassurance. It exposes what motivates you when no one is watching. It shows you whether you are driven by calling or by approval. And yes, there were moments you questioned yourself, nights when silence felt heavy, mornings when you wondered if this was all there was. But even then, something within you didn't collapse. You endured, you adjusted, you stayed upright. That endurance mattered. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 15, verse 19. If you separate the precious from the worthless, You shall be as my mouth. Separation always precedes clarity of voice. Before you can speak with authority, you must learn to listen without distraction. Before you can influence others, you must survive being alone with God. This season has been teaching you how to hear clearly, not just divine instruction, but your own convictions. What you will tolerate, what you will no longer accept, what you are willing to walk away from, even if it costs comfort. Consider one ordinary moment you're sitting alone after a long day. No one is calling. No notifications demand your attention. And instead of feeling empty, you feel steady. That is growth. That is the result of isolation done right. But here's the question you need to face. Honestly, are you willing to let go of who you were so you can step into who you're becoming? Because isolation exposes attachments. Some people didn't leave because they were bad. They left because they were assigned to an earlier version of you. Some environments no longer fit because you outgrew them. And clinging to what no longer fits will delay what's meant to come next. Sunday is connected to the not as an event, but as a transition. The isolation doesn't last forever. It lasts until the work is complete, until your identity is settled, until your dependence shifts from external validation to internal conviction. After this, you won't chase connection, you'll attract alignment. You won't beg for space, you'll command presence. You won't need to explain your path, your fruit will speak. The quiet has been shaping you. The distance has been strengthening you. And when this season lifts, you will notice something subtle but powerful. You no longer fear being alone because you know who you are. Isolation was not the end of your story. It was the forge. Delay is a dangerous place to live when you know you are being called forward. Not because delay is always wrong, but because delay can quietly turn into disobedience when conviction has already arrived. And right now, you are not lacking information. You are wrestling with timing. There has been a clear nudge inside you, a decision you know you need to make, a conversation you know you need to have, a habit you know you need to break, a step you know you need to take, and yet you keep telling yourself, not yet. Soon, after this settles down, that voice sounds reasonable, calm, patient, but it is not always wisdom. Sometimes it is fear dressed as caution. You don't delay because you don't care. You delay because you care deeply and you are afraid of the cost. You know obedience will disrupt something. Comfort, stability, approval, predictability. And so you hover in between, not moving backward, not stepping forward, just suspended. Look at how this shows up in everyday life. At work, maybe you know you've outgrown your position. You feel it every morning, the lack of challenge, the quiet dissatisfaction. You've sensed it's time to prepare for something new, apply elsewhere. Start a project. Speak up about growth, but you keep postponing. You tell yourself the timing isn't perfect. But deep down, you're afraid of rejection or instability. In finances, delay often looks like avoidance. You know you need to restructure, to confront debt, to stop a pattern that drains you. You've had moments of clarity. You even planned once, but then life got busy and you pushed it aside. The cost of facing it felt heavier than the cost of postponing it. In relationships, delay can be the most painful. You know a boundary needs to be set. You know a truth needs to be spoken. Or you know a relationship has already ended emotionally. But you keep it alive out of guilt, habit, or fear of being misunderstood. You are not confused. You are hesitant. Here is the subtle danger. Prolonged delay dulls sensitivity. The first time you resist conviction, it feels uncomfortable. The second time, less so. Over time, What once stirred your conscience becomes background noise. Not because God stopped speaking, but because you stopped responding. The ancient words recorded in Hebrews chapter 3, verse 15 still echo today. Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. Notice the urgency of that word today, not tomorrow, not when conditions improve, not when you feel braver. Delay hardens not because it is dramatic, but because it is repetitive. Each postponement layers over conviction until clarity feels distant. This is where many people misunderstand God. They think patience means permission to hesitate indefinitely. But patience is for process, not for refusal. When direction is clear, delay is no longer neutral. And yet this is not a message of condemnation. It is a message of warning wrapped in mercy. Because conviction is still present. You still feel it, which means the door is not closed. Awareness is grace. Let's bring this into a simple, ordinary moment. You're lying in bed at night. The house is quiet, no distractions. And the thought returns, the same one you've been avoiding all day. The same decision, the same instruction, and your chest tightens slightly. That is not anxiety. That is recognition. Something in you knows this matters. So here is the direct question you need to answer. Honestly, what are you delaying that you already understand? Because what's coming next requires readiness, not reluctance. The next season will demand clarity of action, and clarity cannot coexist with prolonged hesitation. But here is the hope. Obedience does not require full visibility. It requires trust. You are not asked to see 10 steps ahead, only the next one. And when that step is taken, momentum follows. Resistance breaks. Peace returns. You won't feel ready first. You move first and readiness follows. This is why this moment matters. Not because pressure is being applied, but because opportunity is passing close. Delay narrows perception. Obedience widens it. So here is your moment of response, not a performance, not a ritual, a decision marker. In the comments, type "I choose obedience," not as a declaration of perfection, but as an acknowledgement that you are done negotiating with what you already know. Writing it matters because obedience begins internally before it shows externally. If you feel hesitation as you read that, pay attention. That resistance is revealing exactly where growth is waiting. What you obey now determines what you are trusted with later. And what you delay now determines what remains out of reach. The door is still open, but it is asking for movement. It happened early before the city woke, before footsteps filled the streets, before grief had time to harden into routine. The women walked toward the tomb carrying spices, not hope. They were prepared for death, not surprise. They came to tend to an ending, not to witness a beginning. And yet, when they arrived on that first morning of the week, the stone was already rolled away. The resurrection of Jesus did not begin with celebration. It began with shock, with silence, with an empty space where certainty used to sit. They expected a sealed grave. Instead, they were met with absence, and absence spoke louder than presence ever could. Heaven had already moved while humanity was still mourning. This is where your story quietly connects to theirs, because resurrection rarely announces itself with noise. It often arrives disguised as loss, interruption, or something not turning out the way you planned. You expected one outcome, prepared yourself emotionally for it, even grieved it in advance, and then reality shifted without asking your permission. You know what that feels like. In your everyday life, resurrection moments often start when something you depended on collapses. A job ends suddenly, not because you failed, but because the season expired. At first, it feels like groundlessness, identity shaken. confidence bruised. But later, you realize that role had become a tomb, familiar, structured, but lifeless. Losing it hurt, but staying would have buried you. In finances, resurrection may not look like instant abundance. It looks like regaining breath. You stop living in panic mode. You learn to manage instead of fear. You begin rebuilding with wisdom instead of urgency. What was dead was not money, it was peace, and peace returning is resurrection. In family and relationships, resurrection often arrives quietly. A long frozen conversation finally softens. Or you recognize that a relationship you tried to revive was already finished, and letting it go brings unexpected freedom. Sometimes resurrection is not restoring what was, it is restoring you after something ends. The women stood at the tomb confused because resurrection does not match human logic. We expect permanence in death and delay in hope, but God reverses that order. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 28, verse 6, "He is not here, he is risen, just as he said." Those words carry a detail many people overlook. Just as he said, meaning the delay did not cancel the promise. The silence did not erase the plan. What looked like finality was actually timing unfolding beyond human perception. This matters because you may be standing in front of something empty right now. An expectation that didn't materialize, a future that didn't form the way you imagined. And you keep revisiting it mentally, asking why it ended, why it changed, why it didn't last. But resurrection asks a different question. Why are you searching for life in a place God has already moved on from? Here is the difficult truth. Resurrection requires separation from the grave. The women had to leave the tomb to encounter the risen Christ. Staying near what died would have prevented them from recognizing what was alive. Let me ask you directly, what are you still standing beside, hoping it will explain itself, when God has already rolled the stone away? Sunday, the first day, symbolizes reset, not denial of grief, not erasing the past, but redefining it. A new cycle that doesn't repeat old wounds, a week that doesn't start where the last one ended. Something in you is being invited to rise clarity, courage, vision, but it cannot rise if you insist on returning to what has already finished its purpose. Resurrection is rarely dramatic at first. It begins as a quiet shift inside. You notice you're not as heavy. You stop rehearsing the same disappointment. You feel a subtle readiness to move forward even if you don't yet know where you're going. That is life returning. And when life returns, it spreads. There are moments when light doesn't force its way in, it waits for someone to open a window. If this message feels like morning air after a long night, let the window stay open. And if you sense others are still standing at sealed places in their own lives, carry the warmth outward, the way dawn moves from house to house without being pushed. If you feel drawn to remain near these moments of clarity, stay where the fire is tended, where early light keeps appearing. And if you choose to pass this along, pass it gently, like a flame that doesn't burn, but guides. Some journeys continue because people choose to remain. Some awaken because they are shared. And some grow simply because someone decided to walk toward the morning. Resurrection doesn't demand applause, it invites movement. And what rose once is still rising now. There comes a moment in every calling when emotion stops cooperating. You still believe, but you don't feel it. You still know the right thing, but your heart is quiet, tired, unmoved. This is the moment where obedience becomes real. Not poetic, not dramatic, practical. Because obedience was never designed to rely on emotion. Most people obey when they feel inspired. They move when they feel peace. They act when confidence is high. But the kind of obedience that unlocks authority is the kind practiced when emotion is absent and clarity alone remains. Right now, many listening to this are not confused. You're simply not emotionally motivated and the fire feels low. The excitement you once had is gone, and you've been waiting for it to come back before you act. But this season is not asking for feeling, it's asking for follow-through. So let's make this grounded, practical, livable. Start with your mornings. Obedience here looks like structure when you don't feel spiritual. Waking up when you said you would. Creating a small, repeatable rhythm, 5 minutes of stillness. 1 page of reading. A short prayer spoken even when it feels dry. Not because it feels powerful, but because consistency trains trust. Emotion follows order, not the other way around. In your work life, obedience looks like integrity without applause. Doing the task thoroughly even when no one notices. Not cutting corners because motivation is low. Showing up prepared when you'd rather withdraw. Excellence when unseen is obedience in disguise. And this kind of obedience builds credibility you don't have to announce. Financially, obedience often means restraint. Saying no when emotion wants relief. Delaying a purchase. Facing numbers you've avoided. Creating a simple plan and sticking to it even when it doesn't feel hopeful yet. Obedience here isn't about control, it's about stewardship when anxiety wants escape. In relationships, obedience may look like honoring boundaries even when loneliness tempts you to compromise. Not returning to conversations that drained you. Not explaining yourself repeatedly. Choosing silence over reaction. Choosing truth over comfort. This is not emotional, it is disciplined. Here's a simple practice when you feel emotionally flat. Reduce obedience to 1 clear action. Not 10. Not everything. Just 1. Ask yourself, what is the next right step I already know? Then do only that. Obedience is cumulative. Small steps create momentum even when emotion lags behind. Another practice, separate obedience from outcome. Do not measure obedience by immediate results, and that will discourage you. Measure it by faithfulness. Ask, did I do what I was asked to do today? If yes, the day counts. Results are delayed by design. Obedience is immediate. There will be days when you feel nothing after doing the right thing. That does not mean it didn't matter. Seeds grow underground long before emotion catches up. The ancient words recorded in Romans chapter 12, verse 1, still speak clearly. Present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God. A living sacrifice feels the altar. It doesn't disappear. It stays. Obedience that remains present without emotional reinforcement is the most costly and the most powerful. Let's talk about an ordinary scenario. You come home exhausted, mentally done. You know you should prepare for tomorrow, make that call, finish that task, speak that truth, but everything in you wants to shut down. Obedience here may simply be standing up instead of collapsing, sending 1 email, writing 1 line, making 1 honest decision. That counts. Another daily moment you're tempted to numb yourself, scrolling, escaping, avoiding. Obedience might be choosing rest instead of escape, turning the phone off, going to bed, protecting clarity even when distraction feels easier. Here is the direct question you need to face. Are you waiting to feel ready? Or are you willing to move because you already know? Because obedience done without emotion builds something emotion never can: spiritual muscle. Reliability, trustworthiness. This is how authority is formed. You won't always feel aligned, but alignment is not a feeling, it's a direction. And direction is chosen, not felt. So here is your marker for this moment. In the comments, type 909. Not because the number is magical, but because it marks a decision to practice obedience in the ordinary. When emotion is absent. 9 symbolizes maturity, 0 represents surrender, and 9 again points to completion. You are choosing to move even when you don't feel carried. Obedience like this changes timing. It shortens seasons. It prepares you quietly for what's coming next. You don't need to feel ready, then you need to be willing. And willingness is enough to move heaven. Alignment does not arrive with noise. It arrives with order. Quiet, deliberate order that settles into your life piece by piece. And when alignment happens, power is not added to you, it is released through you. What once felt heavy becomes efficient. What once required force begins to flow. You can feel when alignment is missing. Everything takes more effort than it should. Conversations feel strained. Progress feels expensive. Even good intentions drain you. But when alignment comes, life does not become easy, it becomes clear. And clarity multiplies strength. Right now, many people mistake exhaustion for weakness. But often, exhaustion is simply misalignment. You have been pushing against something instead of moving with what God has already set in motion. Look at your work again. Alignment here doesn't mean a perfect job. It means your values and your actions are no longer fighting each other. You stop saying yes to tasks that violate your integrity. You stop overperforming to earn worth. You do what is yours to do, no more, no less. And suddenly, energy returns. Not because the workload changed, but because resistance did. In finances, alignment shows up when spending reflects purpose. You stop using money to manage emotion. You stop proving things through purchases. You begin directing resources intentionally, even if the amount is small. And something shifts internally, money stops controlling your mood. Peace enters where pressure once lived. That is power released. In relationships, alignment may mean fewer connections, but deeper ones. You stop explaining yourself endlessly. You stop chasing mutuality where there is none. You allow distance without resentment. And in that space, your words carry more weight. Your presence becomes steadier. Authority grows without announcement. Alignment is costly because it requires honesty. You must admit what no longer fits. You must acknowledge what drains you. You must release identities that were useful once but now limit you. Many resist alignment not because it is hard, but because it is final. Once aligned, you cannot pretend anymore. Here is a daily life example. You wake up and know exactly what needs to be done, but there are 3 distractions pulling at you. Alignment is choosing the one thing that actually matters. Even if it's less exciting, even if it doesn't give immediate validation, you do it anyway. And at the end of the day, instead of feeling depleted, you feel complete. That is alignment at work. Another moment you are tempted to respond emotionally, to defend, to argue, to react. Alignment is restraint. Silence when silence protects peace. Words when words build, not wound. This kind of alignment turns self-control into strength. Power does not come from intensity. It comes from precision. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 40. Let all things be done decently and in order. Order is not restriction, it is design, and design releases function. When your life aligns with design, strength flows without strain. Here is something subtle but important. Alignment often feels boring at first. No drama, no rush, no emotional highs, just steady movement. Many abandon alignment because it doesn't feel powerful. But this is where true power is built quietly, consistently, without spectacle. Ask yourself this honestly: where in your life are you forcing what no longer flows? Because force always signals misalignment, and misalignment always costs more than it gives. When alignment settles in, you'll notice changes others can't name. You speak less, but when you do, people listen. You do fewer things, but results increase. You stop chasing confirmation because conviction has replaced it. This is preparation for what comes next. Not excitement capacity, not speed stability. The next season will require you to carry influence without losing yourself. That only happens when alignment is already in place. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more pressure. You need alignment. And alignment is not found by searching outward, it is chosen inwardly, one decision at a time. When that choice is made consistently, power does not need to announce itself. It becomes evident. Alignment will not make you louder, but it will make you unmistakable. You will notice that situations no longer pull you in conflicting directions. Decisions feel cleaner, your yes carries weight, and your no creates peace. This is how you recognize that order has taken root within you. What comes next will not overwhelm you, because alignment always arrives before assignment. You are being steadied, not rushed. Strength is settling into your foundations quietly, so that when movement resumes, nothing essential in you collapses under the weight of purpose. You are not standing at the end of something. You are standing at the moment where purpose becomes visible. Everything you have walked through, delay, isolation, obedience without emotion, quiet alignment has been shaping a version of you that can be trusted when movement begins. Not rushed, not inflated, grounded. This is the difference between being called and being sent. Many are called. Few are prepared to be sent without losing themselves. What you endured was not meant to impress you, it was meant to stabilize you, so that when influence arrives, it does not distort you. When attention comes, it does not define you. You have changed, and the change is subtle but permanent. You don't react the same way anymore. You pause before responding. You choose restraint where you once chose urgency. You no longer need to prove what you know. That quiet confidence didn't come from success, it came from survival with integrity intact. In your work life, this next season may look like increased visibility. Not forced, not chased, but unavoidable. Your perspective will be noticed, your steadiness will be sought, and you will realize that the authority you carry now does not need permission. It has weight because it was formed without shortcuts. Financially, you are moving into a season where stewardship matters more than speed. You will feel less pressure to keep up and more clarity about where resources actually belong. Decisions will be slower, but stronger. You won't be tempted by what looks impressive but lacks substance. That discernment is part of being sent. In family and relationships, you will become a calm center. Not the loudest voice, but the most grounded one. People will sense safety around you not because you have answers, but because you are present without judgment. This is leadership that heals instead of controls. The ancient words recorded in Romans chapter 8, verse 19. Speak directly into this moment, for creation waits in eager expectation for the revealing of the sons of God. Revealing means uncovering what already exists. You are not becoming someone new. You are being unveiled. What was formed in hidden places is now ready to be seen, not for attention, but for assignment. Here is the question you must face honestly. Are you willing to be seen without shrinking? Because being sent always includes visibility. And visibility tests whether your identity is anchored internally or dependent on response. You were shaped in quiet so that light would not undo you. As momentum begins to build, remember what formed you. The stillness, the restraint, the obedience when no one noticed. Those are not behind you, they are what will keep you intact as things move forward. Now, there are moments when a path becomes clearer not because someone shouted directions, but because someone before you chose to mark the way. If these words have steadied your steps, leave a sign along the road, the way travelers stack stones so others know this ground has been walked before. If you sense this clarity is meant to travel further than you, let it move through your hands, the way water is shared without losing its source. And if your spirit feels drawn to stay near this place of alignment, return to the well when the ground feels dry, where the signal stays steady and the fire is kept alive. Some choose to stay, and that is like tending a flame. Some choose to share, and that is like carrying light into unfamiliar places. Some simply pause long enough to say, "This mattered." None of these are demands. All of them are choices, and each one is beautiful. You are not late. You are not behind. You are precisely where preparation meets purpose. What lies ahead will not demand more effort, but deeper presence. You will recognize moments where silence accomplishes more than explanation, where standing firm speaks louder than movement. This is not passivity, it is mastery. You are learning how to remain centered while the world shifts around you. There will be days when progress feels invisible again. Do not misread that as regression. Growth at this stage happens inward. First judgment refined, motives clarified, reactions softened. These are the final adjustments before responsibility expands. What is being stabilized now will support much more later. You will know this season has completed its work when you stop asking what comes next and start noticing what is already unfolding. Peace will replace urgency. Confidence will replace comparison. And readiness will no longer feel like pressure, but like quiet agreement within your spirit. Before you step away from this moment, pause just long enough to notice what stayed with you. Not every word was meant to be carried forward. Some lines were simply bridges to reach one truth that quietly settled in your chest. Hold on to that one. Let it stay unnamed if it needs to. Meaning doesn't always need language to work. This ending is not a conclusion. It's an open door. You are free to walk through it, or to stand where you are and breathe for a while. There is no urgency here, no pressure to respond correctly. What matters is honesty with yourself, not with anyone else. If something in this journey helped you see your life a little clearer, you're welcome to let it travel further. Not as a declaration, not as an announcement, but the way one leaves a light on in a window, so others know they're not alone in the dark. Shared things don't lose value, sometimes they find their purpose that way. And if none of this felt useful, if only one sentence lingered, or one image stayed, keep that. Let the rest go. Wisdom doesn't demand full agreement. It only asks to be received where it fits. Growth often begins with a fragment, not a full understanding. You don't owe this message anything. Not loyalty, not response, not continuation. The choice is entirely yours, and that freedom is part of what makes it meaningful. Some people will walk away lighter. Some will walk away thoughtful. Some will return later, when timing catches up with meaning. All of those are valid. Whatever you carry from here, let it serve you quietly. Let it shape your next decision, your next pause, your next act of courage or restraint. And if one day you find yourself offering this same steadiness to someone else, know that this is how things continue. Not loudly, not forcefully, but faithfully. This is not goodbye. It's simply a moment left open.